Hey everyone, it is January 23rd. As I've said before, sometimes I have to, do I adjust my seating every time I start the video? I think I do. I need to be settled before I start, right? Sorry, I don't mean to be distracting. Yeah, sometimes I have to think of that date and look down at my little cheat notes here because it has the date on it. Make sure I say the same one. And I think somebody even pointed out a video back that it was one day and I said another. So I record, for those of you that don't know, record multiple days in a row. I'm in the studio recording, and then the next day I do like life and other things. So it's easy to get days mixed up. But you know what? It's easy today to get days mixed up when you're not recording multiple days, right? Can I get a witness on that? All right, so we are going to take a look at Eliphaz's second response to Job. And I'll have to tell you, everything that they were silent for 7 days, remember? And I think it just built up in them because it's all coming out now. And the responses, that's what we're calling them, are more and more intense. And you know, sometimes we have friends in our lives that will speak very boldly, rudely, matter-of-factly, intensely, and we have to be willing to read between the lines sometimes. Now, sometimes there's nothing to read. Sometimes those lines are completely blurred and there's no truth in it and there's nothing there. But we have to be willing to ask ourselves, where is the truth? Is there truth here? If there is, what truth do I need to hear and what do I need to do with that truth? That's how I approach many situations in my life where people come at me with certain things. I have to process it. Sometimes it's several days before I can respond because I really have to process, okay, this was not nice. Do I want to respond? First off, do I even want to respond? And number two, if I do, how am I going to respond? And number three, what was the intent of this person? Does this person care about me? Does this person love me? Does this person even know me? And a lot of times, if this person doesn't even know me, doesn't even care about me, they really do get the delete button. Sorry. Because I only let certain people have access to that part of my life. I have to be real careful. And we have to be real careful about that. But then there's this rare occasion where I get something from someone that I don't know, but the Spirit gives me a peace to receive it. And I respond back with, okay, I hear you on this. Thank you for your advice on this. I will look into it further or however the Lord leads me. But I'm saying all that to say this. We have to be willing to read between the lines and in this case, read between the insults. Is there anything that we can learn from this in this conversation? Is there anything Job could learn from this? So I picked out some things that we can pay attention to as far as, you know, they were questioning his devotion to God and his commitment to God and all of that. So in order to have a right standing and a right relationship with God, these are some things that I picked out that we could take application to. And the first one is just the idea of being wise. They question his wisdom, and they have called into question his wisdom, not in more than one occasion. Bildad questioned his wisdom over in chapter 8, in I think it was his first speech about his wisdom, and they have constantly just, you know, pecked away at his quote unquote lack of wisdom and knowledge. And we know in James chapter 1, verse 5, James says, if you need wisdom, ask for it. God gives it freely. And what I want us to see here is that asking for wisdom is not a sign of weakness. It's actually adding to our wisdom. It's an investment into our wisdom by asking for it. It's not a sign of weakness. And sometimes we can ask for wisdom from people other than God. Certainly we need to seek godly wisdom from God. But then is there someone that I need to hear from? Is it this person? Is there wisdom that I need to receive from this dialogue that this person has started with me? Or do I need to go to someone and seek wisdom? So asking for wisdom is an investment in being wise, and there's not anything wrong with that. We just want to make sure that the wisdom that we are seeking is from someone who is a Christ follower and a word doer, to make sure that we're getting sound wisdom and counsel. And then second, they talk about in 15:4, Eliphaz says, basically he's talked about the fact that he has cast away his fear of God. We have to have a healthy fear of God, and this is not like a horror movie, Freddy Krueger and Jason and all of those horror movies that are, out there that scare us. This is a reverence and a holiness for God, and we have got to keep that in line. We've got to keep that going, and that keeps our relationship spiritually healthy when we have a healthy fear and a reverence of God, knowing that He is sovereign and He is over all things. Helps us be respectful, and it gives us a great security. So let's be wise, let's fear God, and let's maintain our devotion to Him. They've called into question in verse 4 about his devotion to God, because he talks about the fact that he's had an unrestrained life of prayer. Well, I don't know how his friends would know that, but anyways, we can learn here to maintain our devotion, that we have a healthy prayer life. Our healthy prayer life should involve the Word of God, reading it and studying it and obeying it. Those are key components in maintaining a right relationship with God. And then lastly, he says in verse 15:10, the gray-haired and aged are on our side. In other words, we need to make sure that we show respect for anyone that has advice for us or counsel for us, especially a gray-haired person. Sometimes we can receive counsel from those that are chronologically older than us and some that are spiritually older than us, from those that have gray hair and from those that are far from having gray hair. We need to be ready to receive counsel from the aged. And here's the thing. Sometimes this counsel does not come in the nicest tone. Case in point, right here, all the friends. We might have, and here's the thing too, is that I know older people seem to lose their tact at times. But it doesn't make how they say it, doesn't make what they say any less valuable. Okay, let me repeat that. How they say it doesn't make what they say any less valuable. And it may sting, it may hurt for just a second or longer than a second. But that's when we step back and we go, unblur the lines, show me what I need to know. I want to be wise. I want to know what you want me to see in this. And this is something that Job certainly needs to learn, but something that we can learn from Eliphaz in this second response that he has to Job. We need to learn to read between the lines. And it's hard. It's not easy. But the bottom line is we want to become like our Father. And He will use any occasion and all people in all times and all occasions to bring us to a knowledge of something that we need to know. And we need to be willing to learn it no matter how it comes. And that, again, goes back to the last 2 days, that H word, humility. Being willing to sit back and take whatever comes our way And then being able to respond in a way that's respectful to that person. And that would be a lesson for another day. This is just what can we learn here from Eliphaz the Temanite. Yeah, so there's a lot to learn there. We will see you next time on Read Through the Word.